You ever see a moment so out of place, so wrong on the surface, that it burns into your memory forever? I still remember the look on her face that night, sharp as broken glass, that smug little smirk that said she already knew how the story ended. Her name was Vanessa Kincaid, CEO of Kincaid Global, a woman who could turn a compliment into an insult without breaking a sweat. And me, I was just the guy who mopped her floors. It was the annual winter gala, crystal chandeliers, champagne flowing, everyone in the fanciest black tie outfits money could buy. I was pushing my cleaning cart along the edge of the room, invisible as always, when she tapped the mic and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my yearly challenge." She stepped to the gleaming black Steinway Grand in the center of the ballroom, letting her fingers trail across the polished lid like she owned more than just the company, like she owned the idea of elegance itself. This year, she announced, "I'm offering $100,000 to anyone who can play Chopin's Ballade No. 1 perfectly start to finish." The crowd murmured. I froze. That piece. I knew it like my own heartbeat. Vanessa smiled, scanning the room like a queen looking for a worthy knight. Of course, she added, "This challenge is for senior staff only." After all, true excellence comes from the right upbringing, the right education, the right breeding. That word breeding landed like a slap. One by one, the so-called elite took their turn. The CFO started confident but stumbled halfway through. A marketing exec bragged about her Juilliard training, then got lost in the middle section. Each failure made Vanessa's grin widen. "You see," she said, "this is why excellence is rare. Not everyone can just walk up to it and make it theirs." And then she caught me watching. "What are you looking at?" she asked, that frost in her voice, turning the whole crowd's attention my way. "Don't tell me you think you could play this." I shook my head. "Just cleaning up, ma'am." "Good," she said, and turned her back on me. But as I walked away, my fingers twitched at my side. Old instincts die hard. The next morning, I was on the top floor wiping down conference tables when I saw it, the same Steinway parked by the window, morning light spilling across its keys. My chest tightened. I hadn't been this close to one in years, but before I could even think about touching it, the doors opened, and in she came. "You again," Vanessa said. "Are you following me?" "No, ma'am. Just my regular shift." She walked over to the piano, running her hand along the lid. "Make sure you don't touch this. A real artist will be using it later." I nodded, but as I turned to roll my cart away, my mop bucket caught on the rug. I stumbled, one hand shot out to steady myself, and landed on the keys with a loud clashing chord. Her face flushed red. "Do you have any idea what you've just done? Those keys have been played by world-renowned artists. And now, you've contaminated them." "It was an accident," I said, keeping my voice steady. She pulled out a silk handkerchief and wiped the keys like I'd spilled something toxic. "More than you make in 5 years," she muttered. The guards came, and she sent me away like I was a trespasser in my own workplace. That night, the building was nearly empty. System updates meant most people had gone home. I was alone on the top floor, and there it was again, that piano. Moonlight pooled on the keys. My hands, they remembered. I sat down, adjusted the bench, and pressed a single note. Middle C, pure resonant. And then, before I knew it, I was playing. Chopin's Ballade No. 1 isn't just music, it's a confession. Every rise and fall, every whisper and storm is a piece of someone's soul. Mine poured out of me all the years I'd kept buried, the nights on stage under hot lights, the roar of applause, and the moment I walked away from it all. Back then, my wife Elena had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. We had a 6-month-old daughter, Claire. My agent called it career suicide when I canceled my European tour. I called it love. I chose to be there for every hospital visit, every sleepless night. After she passed, I stayed. Someone had to raise Claire, keep the bills paid, keep the lights on. A janitor's hours fit that life better than a concert schedule ever could. I didn't know there was a camera in the corner recording every note that night. Didn't know the next morning Thomas Bennett, the company's VP, would be standing outside the conference room staring at me like he'd seen a ghost. "Where did you learn to play like that?" he asked. "Here and there," I said. He wasn't buying it. That wasn't here and there. That was world class. "Please," I told him, "don't tell Vanessa. I need this job." Weeks later, the company took a hit in the press elitism toxic culture, the works. The board pushed Vanessa to make her Chopin challenge public for PR. She agreed, but she handpicked every contestant. Still no bus drivers, no waitresses, no janitors, just polished professionals. The day of the event, the atrium looked like a concert hall. Cameras everywhere. One by one, the contestants tried. One by one, they failed. And then during a break, someone spilled water on the piano. "Where's maintenance?" Vanessa barked. I stepped forward with a towel. As I dabbed the keys, my fingers brushed one just enough to make a sound. Dr. Harold Owens, a retired concert pianist, sitting in the crowd, stared at me like he'd seen lightning strike indoors. "It's you," he said. The murmurs started. Someone shouted, "Let him try." Then another and another. Soon the whole place was chanting, "Let him play, let him play." Vanessa's smile was tight. "Fine," she said. "In the spirit of inclusivity, our janitor will attempt the challenge." She looked at me. "Unless you're afraid." I walked to the bench, sat down, and took a breath. Chopin's Ballad No. 1 in G minor, Opus 23. I said, looking her in the eye. Composed in 1831, published in 1836, dedicated to Baron Nathaniel von Stockhausen. Her expression faltered. Then I played. The room disappeared. Every note was a vein of memory. Elena's laughter, Claire's first steps, the weight of choices I never regretted but still carried. My hands moved without thought, shaping the waltz section with tenderness, attacking the coda like it was the last fight I'd ever win. When the final chord rang out, silence clung to the air before the crowd erupted. Cheers, applause, people on their feet. Dr. Owens had tears running down his face. "You don't understand," he told them. "You've just heard one of the greatest pianists of his generation." Vanessa's voice cracked. "Then why? Why is he working here?" I looked at her and said, "Because life isn't a fairy tale. Because talent doesn't pay medical bills. Because sometimes you have to choose between your dreams and your daughter's future." The prize was mine, but I told them I wanted it to start a music foundation for kids whose parents work jobs like mine. "Talent doesn't care about your zip code," I said. "It just needs a chance." That clip hit the internet like wildfire. Millions of views in hours. The board forced Vanessa to apologize on camera. She offered me a cushy position. I turned it down. "What I need," I told her, "is for you to see the next me before they have to prove themselves." 6 months later, I stood backstage at the first recital for the Claire Washington Music Foundation. 40-some kids from working-class families playing their hearts out. Some missed notes, some nailed them, but every one of them played like they belonged there. One of my oldest students, 17 and headed to Juilliard, closed the night with the ballad. When she finished, she turned to me. "Play it with me," she asked. We did 2 pianos, side by side. Her fire, my history. The audience stood before the last note even faded. And as I looked out over that crowd, janitors next to CEOs, bus drivers next to professors, I realized something. This was the real win. Not the viral video, not the money, but proof that beauty and brilliance can come from anywhere if someone's willing to see it. So tell me, what do you think? Was Vanessa's challenge fair from the start, or was it just another way to keep certain people in their place? And how many talents have we walked past today without ever knowing? Let me know in the comments, because I think the answers might surprise us all.